How's it going, guys? Welcome to a brand new Proyectos Los Carnales. My name is Julio, and today we actually have a small little treat. I know we drop a good amount of trucks here, but my brother actually got his hands on a 2014 Silverado, and my wife got her hands on a 2008 Silverado as well. So she's always liked lifted trucks. My brother actually got a 4x4, and he's like, you know what, I think I want to lift it. So what we're gonna do today, we're just gonna do a 3-inch lift on them. Just something super simple, super easy. They're gonna be in and out in like hour and a half, 2 hours. And the only reason that we're pretty stoked and excited to do all of this is because we did find a pretty good deal on a couple sets of rims. So we're gonna sit both trucks on a pair of 24-inch rims with 35-inch tires. So they're gonna look pretty nice. I'm really excited. We're about to go pick up the wheels right now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna record. A lot of people don't feel too comfortable being on camera, so I think I'm gonna just leave it alone. But yeah, as soon as we get back, we're gonna get to it. And this is gonna work out perfect because both trucks use the same kit. The 2008 Silverado is a 2-wheel drive, and the 2014 is a 4x4. So like every project, we got the Carnal Ivan right here. We're starting off on the easy side because we want to see results ASAP, and this is only taking like a minute. All right, guys, so what we're doing right now, we're gonna disassemble the front real quick just so we could get the strut spacer on the strut. In the bottom of these struts, they take a 15mm bolt. I have them on the side. The top takes an 18mm socket, and then that just gets rid of your strut. But you have to take off the upper ball joint, which is an 18mm, and you have to take off the actual sway bar link. When you take that off, it'll let your lower control arm stretch a little more with the spindle attached. That way when you put the strut spacer in the new strut, it'll let you slip it in without having too much issues going on with it. So for right now, we're just gonna focus on removing the strut, taking off the ball joint and the sway bar link, and then we'll come back and install the spacer so you guys can see. All right, so we got the strut out of the way, like I just said. 3 18mm bolts in the top, 2 15mm screws in the bottom. And then to actually get it out, because this is a 4x4, we had to remove the tie rod, which is a 13/16. We took off the nut, and then just once it's all the way out, you just kind of give it some pressure with a hammer, and it goes all the way out. Sway bar link is removed. It was a 15mm in the bottom, 13 in the top, and right here in the upper ball joint, it's an 18mm. We are gonna remove it, like I said, so we can lift the upper arm and kind of get some more space. When you remove it, you're gonna want to leave the last handful of threads on there. That way you could hammer it right here, and it'll just pop down and not fall all the way through. Once it falls down, you can control it. That way it doesn't smack anything, and comfortably release it. All right, guys, so this is what the 3-inch spacer kit looks like. One side has holes. These sit on the actual strut itself, and this side is threaded. The reason it's threaded is because, so these bolts go threaded in through the bottom, and they go all the way up. Normally I like to put a little bit of thread locker towards the end of the threads in here. That way, because when you put the thread locker here, you don't expect this to move anymore, just on the top. Same thing right here. We have a couple washers and nuts that come in the kit. You slide that through the strut, you put your washer, and then you put the nut on there. And even though it has a nylon retainer plastic inside of the nut itself and everything holds it, I still like to put a little bit of thread locker in there because, like I mentioned, we don't want these moving anywhere, and we don't want this moving anywhere. If we ever remove it, we're just gonna remove it from up here, but not from down here. So we have thread locker in there, thread locker in here, and that's the final looking product right there with the spacer on it. All we're gonna do now is focus on installing it back on. You're gonna slip it in through anywhere you can right there, bolts up the top, and then in the bottom we're gonna have to lift it with a jack. That way we can actually get the bottom bolts on. All right, guys, so now we're gonna install the strut on. I don't know if it's capturing the image pretty good, but it has 3 holes where they mount. Yep, there we go. The first hole's pointing towards you, it's right here, and then right here they're flat, so it's pretty much gonna be like adjacent or whatever. Make sure the triangle starts with the first pin here and the last 2 back there. So, all right, we have our strut with the spacer on. If you could tell, we have 2 bolts on there, very loosely holding everything. The reason for that is we need to put these bolts through the hole on the control arm and get to the bottom of the strut. Remember, these are 15mm bolts.
All right, guys, so now that we actually put the strut back in, what we want to go ahead and do and start lining up while we lift up the bottom control arm. We're gonna start lining up so the spindle goes right into the top control arm, and then that way everything's pretty much just gonna go ahead and start lining up to bolt right on. Hello guys, welcome back to Proyectos Los Carnales. Over here we have actually put on all the ABS sensor, and we pretty much put everything on. The only thing that I need to tighten up is this upper ball joint. If you can see over here, we're actually missing the sway bar link. We're not gonna go ahead and set that up yet until we finish up the other side. And if you hang on tight, you can see how we finish up this whole lift. I'll see you soon.
We'll be back for Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
So when you're done putting everything, you just get the new tire that you're actually gonna install it, and then once everything's done, make sure you guys do a couple turns, and wherever it's grinding or if it's touching the lip or anything, just trim off the edge.
You're paying for that.
All right guys, so we got the jack going down. We're gonna see once it's on its own how low it is.
Just for that, I'm going up.
And as soon as Ivan figures out what down means, we're good. There we go, it's officially off the jack all the way. And that's a 3-inch level. So it's pretty close to even. We have one side done. We're gonna do the other side real quick. It should be a lot easier now that we're not recording, but this is pretty much the final look on it. We'll be back.
This right here, you never play with this, okay? Look it. Don't do this.
Not playing with fire.
You never do this, okay? Never.
Thank you, maestro. This one is a 2-wheel drive. We did put the 35s on 24-inch rims on this one as well. The difference here, it's 2-wheel drive. It doesn't have the axle in the middle, so it's just a little bit easier to get the clearance in and out for the strut. But everything else is exactly the same. Sway bar link's off, tie rod end is off, the upper control arm is gonna come off so we could make space with the bottom so we could get the new strut in. We have the new struts over here. We got the new struts with the actual kit to install it, and we're just gonna go ahead and install that one so that we could show you guys. This is a NNBS. This is a 2007 to 13. The other one's a 14. They use the same exact kit and is the same exact steps. But let me go ahead and throw this on and we'll show the final result on this one. All right, so when the wheels turned all the way, it does not rub in the front. In the back over here by the fender, it does rub a little bit. And this is the section that we're gonna cut out. So it's just about a 1/2 inch. You're gonna wanna start like somewhere right here and probably like 1 inch down, and then just like take it down about a good 1/2 inch. And then the plastic right here, I just cut the plastic. I overdid it. I should have just done a small portion, but who cares? It's just the inner plastic. There's no issues there. All right, so the wheel is turned a little bit. This is the side you could tell. I cut it and just hit it with a hammer a little bit just to kind of like dole out the edges. But there's a good clearance already, so we have no issues whenever we turn on this side. We cut the plastic. Once again, I overdid it, but it's just the inner plastic. I'm gonna just shoot a little bit of rubberized undercoating on the edges, that way they don't rust out. And once again, right here in the front, there's no rubbing. We do have the 24-inch replica wheel with the 35-inch tire, and it's working perfectly fine. That's the only modification we had to do on the actual fender.